you're good. God was speaking, Mozart was listening. For sure. What do you think and feel when you're playing Is there, again, a story? I've been asking that of everyone today. Is there a story that you play, a movie that you play in your mind while you're doing it? You're doing a lot of beautiful things, but I was just wondering, they were so beautiful, they made me think that you must have a story.
Well, Mozart had like a lot of connections with singers.
Say again?
Mozart had a lot of connections with singers.
He did. So he writes great singing melodies for us to play on the piano. We're so fortunate. If you're blessed with a voice like mine, thank goodness, we can sing on the piano, right? Well, that's historically true. But I want to hold you to the question. Is there a story here that you think about when you play?
Well, I don't really think of a story, but I just, maybe just think of a story.
Well, that's a great place to build it from, for sure. Absolutely. So let's take the first part. Why didn't he just do, to start it, why did he make us hear those C's, those souls, 4 times? Right. So how can we dramatize it? What are some of the obvious ways that we could make it sound dramatic? Right? Or have you experimented with both? Okay. Show us both. Show the idea of getting stronger to the downbeat. Okay. Do you remember that shape that I was making earlier about not this, which is too obvious, it's too linear. This, exponential, is more interesting for us because we can't really be, if you do it linear, everyone equally louder than the next, we know exactly where you're going. And therefore we're not as engaged as we might be if you did it this way and then teased out that really strong sound at the end. We might not have been able to predict that so easily, and therefore we would be with you. Try that. Now, can you do it in your hands and not in your body? All in the hands. All in the hands and the arms. And you want to pedal it? Are you opposed to holding the pedal the entire time?
I can lift like average.
I know that. I mean, that's what I'm hearing.
I'm actually not that.
Okay, so pedal all the way through. Starts off, let the piano, you know, what's great about when we push the pedal down, we get a couple of things that are really important for us. Number one, we get this incredibly sustained, glued together, connected legato sound. Also what we get is some of the touch weight of the piano is released by lifting the dampers, and so pressing those keys, it feels much more delicate and in control, right? So there's a mechanical advantage, and of course, most importantly, there's a musical one, right? I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Now, let's be radical. Let's go the other way and say that that final downbeat's going to be sweet. Take us to sweet. And so come down with the repeating notes. Start, you know, here's my note. We don't know if this is the key. We don't know if this is the dominant. We don't know what it is. But we're going to tell you soon. You're going to find out soon. Okay, let's have a vote on that. All right? Spontaneous vote here. How many of you preferred setting up the note in a crescendo this way? How many of you preferred that? Raise your hand. Okay, and can we assume that the others were intrigued by that last idea? Yes? Good. This is the cool thing about music. That you can make a case in so many different ways. You can make your case in so many different ways. It's just, who am I? What is the story that I'm trying to tell? What do I want you to feel when this happens? Now, you get to vote too, because your vote's the only one that really matters, right? How's it, which one is for you?
I think the second one sounds more interesting, but I mean, the first one's what I'm used to.
You gotta forget about used to. Right now, you gotta just pretend like I've got A and I've got B. Which flavor do I like better? If you mean that sincerely, then that's what you should do. Because ultimately, if you're not convinced, we're not convinced. Our whole mission is to take what we see in this music and dig out the most wonderful parts of it and then share that with our audience. And whenever we make those choices, and interpretation is always filled with choices, we have to be convinced ourselves first before we can ever hope to convince others and draw them in. So starting again, let's hear your plan B. Pedal this down all the time until we get to the downbeat. You did something so instinctive just now. You also, because you're teasing us with that idea, did you notice how you took extra time before that downbeat? That was perfect. That made so much sense. It was like a breath. Again, it was really convincing. Now, wait. Again, try to find your strength without maybe quite so much of this. Here's what happens when we do a lot of this. We think we're doing things that we're not. Right? It makes us think we're doing something, and we may not be. So see if you can do it with the hands and the arms and the wrists. Almost good. Not as good as your last one. Let's try it again. Be fussy. Now, do you think, I agree with you that appoggiatura, if you will, is an important note. But you have just put us in such a sweet place with the way you've done these bars, that maybe that one, look at that as a small sign, right? Be tender with it. You're showing us that you can be tender with this. Continue the tenderness even when we hit that special note. Okay? Now, try to, I know you do this thing with the upper body, just use your arm like a conductor would, and let your arm fall into the key. Well, that was surprising. You just blew your plan. But it actually kind of worked in a way, right? So we found a third possibility. Okay? This is good. The more possibilities, the better. But eventually you have to vote Republican or Democrat or Independent. Eventually, right? Try this. Things. The thing about it is that it's proportion too. So when you get to this moment, when you see that crescendo mark there, that hairpin up and down, if you're giving us tender here, you don't want to blow us out of the water here, right? It seems out of proportion. It's like, oops, I made a mistake. I really wanted to blow you out of the water, right? Right? So see if you can do this again and keep this in proportion to your lovely sweetness that you're doing here. Breathe. Breathe. Make us wait. Make us wait here. Not there. Not on the downbeat. Make us wait for this change a tiny bit. And how can you make the timing of that for yourself? Right? You have to breathe that moment and then it'll time out just perfectly. Try it again. Think of that. That's why I'm sorry to stop you. Think of that first note like a bell, a clarion bell. I am calling you to attention, right? And then, when you come to this lovely turn, and God, we're so thankful for ornaments like that, try to do it more melodically. Think of each of those notes not really as an ornament, but as a main melodic note. Give them more voice. Make a bell. Ah, lovely. Press. Make us wait. Now, careful. When you do such a great job of letting that speak, make sure that these coming down notes don't just disappear. Right? Let them speak. This is maybe just an important thing to say, that yes, we have long notes, and naturally they speak. They're long. But we have short notes too. And they deserve a chance to speak. And that comes from applying the weight of your hand through gravity into each of those notes, rather than just flicking them off. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Let your weight, whatever weight you put into that high G, taper it away down through that arpeggio, right? Where are we going? Almost. Play with it a few times until it really feels like each of those four notes speaks. Okay, why in the language of music, why did he just repeat essentially that same material? Why do we repeat things in speech? Why do we repeat things in speech? Right, we are underscoring the point. We are bolding. We are underscoring. We are making sure you're getting the message. Right? We never just repeat to repeat, to repeat, to repeat, to repeat. When did you stop listening? To repeat, to repeat. We repeat to repeat. Right? That's what we do. And that's what the language is doing. Music is speech. Right? Okay, try again. You're doing great. And then, surprises. Breathe. Good. Now, that's very good. Now, let's go on just because of the repeat. So, play the cadence for us one more time. Ya, da, da, dum. And then I want to hear you breathe before you bring in this next idea. Okay? Could be made for maybe, I love the idea of the duples. I mean, he's clearly indicating that you just really be soft on the second note and you just have the tiniest of separations between them. We don't want them to become a hiccup, right? So you should play it just in practice, so you hear the glue of them being together. And then, subtly, make the pairs and the tiny separation between them, so it doesn't sound like a hiccup, right? That takes a little time. Look,